Heroes of the Storm is Blizzard's answer to League of Legends and Dota 2. In my new series Level 10 here on YouTube, I want to show you guys how you can improve your skills in Heroes of the Storm, what do you have to do if you want to improve on your favorite hero, what are the general differences between the three MOBAs, and how exactly can you improve as a player and just get ahead of the competition. In our first episode today, I want to show you guys what are the big differences between Heroes of the Storm, League of Legends and Dota 2. What do you have to pay attention to if you just start with Blizzard's new MOBA, and what of course are the big do's and don'ts that we have in the game if you want to be a successful Heroes of the Storm player. The biggest difference between the three games is that Blizzard decided to completely remove gold and items from the game. Whereas if you are playing Dota 2 or League of Legends, you are really used to just save up for the next item and improve your character by buying the next item, get maybe a stat boost or a completely different skill. In Heroes of the Storm, you don't have that. And it's a bit of a weird notion for a veteran MOBA player, and a lot of people will at the beginning think that this also means that Heroes of the Storm caters more towards a casual audience, but that is not necessarily true. To make up for the lack of items, Blizzard introduced a talent system. At several levels, you will get access to various talents where you can only choose one talent to improve maybe one of your skills, to maybe just like improve your hero in general, give him life leech or something completely different, maybe even a new ability that he can use in fights, and that brings a lot of depth to the game. Blizzard makes away with all those hundreds of items that you can choose from in other MOBAs, where only 10 or maybe 20% of them really work with your character, and introduces a system that makes it much easier for new players to just get used to the game, get familiar with their hero, and then also of course choose a build that they personally think is the best build for the character. And exactly at these builds are we going to look at in the future, when we are going to talk about individual heroes, about ways that you can use those talents to just make the hero as strong as possible, and what exactly are of course the different ways that we have to just build up a hero. What is, for example, the best way to play Abathur as a pusher? Is there a different way? Can Valla only be played with one single build, or do we have maybe several ones that work very well with her? Does a hero have several roles that he can use depending what kind of talents he picks? These are going to be questions that we are going to address in future videos. The second big difference between Heroes of the Storm, Dota 2 and League of Legends is that in Heroes of the Storm, experience is global. So your entire team is always on the exact same level, and that makes the game very unique, and also gives access to several strategies, especially in the early game. You will never end up in a situation where one of the heroes in your team is several levels behind the others because he died early on in the game once or twice. You will always be on the same level as a team, and that makes it extremely important, especially in the early game, that you always make sure that you gather as much experience as you possibly can. Keeping up a heartbeat on every single lane, keeping one hero on each of the lanes to soak up the experience is crucial in Heroes of the Storm, so you can access level 10, where you will get your heroic ability, also of course known as your ultimate, so much earlier, and then maybe be able to force an early big team fight against the opponent and take a huge advantage towards the late game. Another big difference that we have between those three titles is that in Heroes of the Storm we also have more than only one map. Whereas in League of Legends and Dota 2 you usually only play the same map over and over again, Blizzard has decided that they want to go a different approach. They are actually introducing a lot more maps these days, and one of the things that all of these maps have in common is that you have to complete certain objectives on the map. And that forces team fights from the early stages of the game throughout the late game. It's really amazing because it makes sure that the game is very fast-paced and action-packed. In Heroes of the Storm you are forced to team fight from the get-go. Right at the beginning, that's already clear what the objectives of the map are. Usually you just have to collect something on the map, and if you get enough, your hero will turn into like a big monster, for example, or there's another advantage that you get over the opponent's team. But it's always the same thing. If you ignore these objectives, you will fall behind in the game. So Blizzard has found a very cool approach to make sure that from the beginning of the match, you are forced to face your opponent head on in fights on the map. And of course, with those objectives, there comes a lot of strategy to the game. You can decide to let go of these objectives early on in the game to maybe soak up a bit more experience on the lanes, get a head start in talents, in levels, and then get an advantage throughout that. But it's very tricky to really make all of this work. So maps are a crucial point of Heroes of the Storm, and actually one of the things that makes the game so unique and also so much fun to play. In our next episode, we're gonna look towards like more specific things in the game. I'm gonna teach you guys what exactly is the best hero to study Heroes of the Storm career with if you are a new player in the mobile scene, and what of course should you do, what are the do's, what are the don'ts, what are certain things on maps that you need to know if you want to be successful. Are there maybe a couple of small tricks that you can use to get ahead of the competition? I'm going to show you all of that in the future episodes of Level 10. I hope that you liked this episode, and I hope that you tune in for the upcoming ones. So guys, thank you very much for tuning in today. Have a good day and bye bye.